Hello, welcome to the Rope Bake podcast with me, Kev, and my co-presenter, Dan. How's it going, Dan? How's everything?
Yeah, everything's going good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, getting there. It's just been a bit it's been one of them weeks. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the Royal Rumble, because I think that's the best talking point, I think, for this week.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about the whole thing before we get on to, individual matches and bits?
It's hard to judge it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like I think no matter what they did or what way they went, there was always going to be people unhappy with it. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all we can do is go through the individual matches and then both say what we both thought, an overall rating on it. I can't even really give it one because I'm so 50-50 on the way it went down. So
yeah. So obviously we'll start off with the women's Royal Rumble because that was where we started.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. They always tend to do this now. They always put the women on first.
Yeah.
But what I find that we get all excited and then the matches in between, it sort of deflates the whole thing. You know what I mean?
I'd agree with the second match, the tag match. I'd agree with you on that. Yeah. Because, I mean, we're going out of order, but fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
I actually think that Owens and Cody was incredible. I thought it was an amazing match. I thought it was one of the best matches in months. I think there was a great story behind it. I think some of the spots that they did in that match was incredible. I thought it was a very, very good match. Yes, it was probably predictable the way that it went. Obviously, my theory was that Cody grabbed one belt and Owens had grabbed another, but they obviously decided that they wanted to just completely end that rivalry and that storyline, which I guess that they have to now build up to WrestleMania. It makes sense to end that storyline now. I mean, maybe they could have gone again at Chamber, but we'll get there later. The way that Raw ended, I think Kevin Owens has different plans now at the Elimination Chamber, but we'll get to that a little bit later on.
Yeah, it was clear that they were told to do what they want.
Yeah,
there's some of those spots like the backflip, Kevin onto the corner. Well, the top of the ladder.
Yeah.
I mean that ain't gonna be like Christian. That would have fucking hurt. That would have really hurt.
Yeah.
And some of the spots in that whole match was just It was they've clearly gone, can we do this? And they've just gone, look, do what you want.
Yeah, I mean that backdrop that Owens took onto the ladder, and then the fisherman hook suplex that Owens put Cody through a ladder, but the back of Owens' head hit the ladder, and you could tell straight away that it was real and he wasn't just selling, because it was one of them. Do you know when it's a really aggressive one? He's like, fuck, you bastard. It was a proper like, oh, you. You could tell straight away that and then obviously it showed the replay and you could see the back of his head bang off the ladder. But the final spot where he obviously Alabama slammed him through the ladder, the way his head folded in between the two rungs.
In between where it folded. And he just stayed there.
I thought he was dead. Because he didn't move for about 10 minutes, but he was like folded up like a bastard pancake. I
don't think he moved. He didn't move at all. I don't think until they sort of until after he'd obviously grabbed the belts.
Yeah,
and I don't think they moved him even when he was at the turnbuckle with both belts. He was still there. He was still in that position. They sort of rolled him and sat him up.
I mean, is anyone surprised at this point with how good Owens is at everything? You know,
so to the point, I really wanted Owens to. I really wanted him to win because I felt that would have then played into the program into Mania.
Yeah,
where maybe Owens, where maybe Cody wins it back or something. But yeah, it was a great. That was a great. The tag match after, like we said, we'll talk about them out of sequence. The tag match was very good.
It did feel flat, which was the point you was making earlier.
After the women's Rumble match, because everyone was so hyped and we had all these spots, and then it just went, and then everyone was like trying to catch their breath, and it just felt flat.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily their fault because just where they're placed in it. Look, even if I don't know if it would have been the same for Cody if they had gone straight after as well, because everyone's sort of coming down a little bit, isn't they? So I think it would have been difficult for anyone to follow that.
I do understand what you're saying, but then at the same time, I remember, was it 2019, the first time that Charlotte and Rhea wrestled? That was like third match on the card. That's usually the card, the match that is flat that no one cares about, and it stole the show and it was match of the night. So
yeah.
I understand what you're saying a little bit, but I don't know. I was expecting more from them too. I think all four of them in those two tag teams are incredible. And for me, it felt a little bit short from what I was expecting. I felt like the match could have been a bit better, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah. We'll get onto the women's. What did you think of like the people that were coming? Yeah. Obviously, we had Jordynne Grace, and it was officially announced that she is now part of WWE.
Yeah.
And I think there were so many rumors going about, so everyone was fucking hyped up anyway, and everyone's like, "Oh, AJ's there," because Punk said, "I can't talk about someone who's going to be there or be in trouble and all this sort of thing." So everyone was really excited, and when the last spot came, and it was Nikki, I think a lot of people went, "Really?" Like Nikki?
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for Nikki, to be honest. I think everyone was wanting AJ. Like, it's not like, I just think we need to accept that it's probably never happening. Now, look, we can't really say that with obviously Cody returning and Punk returning. You can't ever say never to anything. But I genuinely think she just doesn't want to do it. I just genuinely think she has no interest in it at all.
Yeah, so, I think she's got to the point now where she doesn't need it.
No, I just...
It doesn't interest her.
No, and she has got a lot of other things in the pipeline that she does. I know she's got a clothing brand. She does all sorts of different things. So I think her life is busy enough without it, and I don't think she particularly misses it. Whereas with that, how big of a Punk fan I am. But you can't deny the fact that his acting career didn't go where he wanted it to. He didn't get the roles that he wanted in the films that he did get decent roles in. The films were just absolute garbage and no one liked them. His UFC career was horrendous.
You
know, so I feel like everything that he did was the reason why he eventually went, I think I might have to give this wrestling thing a go again.
I'm going to have to do wrestling again.
I don't think AJ is really in that spot. Another thing that I would say, which, and maybe this is just me being biased because I'm such a big Punk fan, maybe his UFC and his acting career didn't go as great as it could have done, because that wasn't what really deep down he wanted to actually do. You know, maybe deep down he always just wanted to wrestle. It just took him 8 years to figure that out, I guess.
Yeah. It took him long enough, sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of spots there was. I was surprised. We'll come on to the men's later, but I was surprised there wasn't more men NXT stars.
There was no men NXT stars.
No.
And no Obafemi was a massive shock. I was so confident Obafemi would be in there.
Well, not only that, Trick Williams, I would have thought at least one or two, considering they had quite a few NXT girls there. Julia,
especially. Did they have six 6 NXT women
Um,
and then 0 NXT.
hang
So
on.
they had Julia, they had Stephanie Vaca, Roxanne.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Roxanne Perez,
Yeah.
Lash Legend. Now she's
Yeah.
definitely ready for the uptake coming up.
Yeah.
We had Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had obviously Julia.
Stephanie Vaca.
Yep, Stephanie Vaca as well.
And
I think that was about it.
well, I think Jordan Grace is going to be on NXT. So that's
Right.
it.
Okay.
And I'm only saying that because she was eliminated by Roxanne, which
Yes.
would make me think that that's setting up a rivalry between Jordan Grace and look, me personally, I hope she's on the main roster. I hope
Yeah.
that,
I hope she does come. Yeah.
and I've kind of got to get your opinion on this. If they do send her to NXT, you've got to question why, because NXT's women roster is probably the most in-depth and strongest women's roster in world wrestling. So you don't like, to be honest, Raw and SmackDown could do with a big name female.
Yeah.
So I don't really if they do send it to NXT, it wouldn't really make much sense to me because I'd take Jordan Gray straight to the main roster. I would definitely bring Roxanne up now. I'd probably bring Lash Legend up now, and I'd potentially even be tempted to bring Jada Parker up as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they're ready. And then obviously, I want to also go on to obviously. Yeah, hang on, the connection's going a bit nuts here. Hang on, I'm going to try and sort it. But yeah, obviously, I think the big thing was Bliss.
Yeah,
I think she was like the pop. I mean, there were stars that got popped quite big, but I think we'll come on to the men's one because I think the person who actually, though we had everyone, I think the one that got the biggest pop was someone else. We'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, it was really nice to see Alexa. Do you know what? She hasn't missed a beat. She's just come straight back into it and got straight into it.
Yeah, I'm. I was so happy when a music hit. It was so nice to see her because she was another one that I mean, to be fair, Triple H and WWE basically.
Yeah, it was.
WWE and Triple H basically have said that she only signed a contract like last minute. It was similar to Punk when he came back at Survivor Series because Shotzi was supposed to be in that spot and they pulled spots when Bliss signed. It was so last minute. She said since she's left, look, she's got married, she's had a kid, she's had a skin cancer scare where she had to have cells removed from her face. She went on the American Masked Singer. And her baby's not really that old. I think her baby's it's not even a year old yet. A kid.
It's been coming up for about a year. I would have said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but no Becky was a shock.
Yeah, that was another thing. There was 2 people that didn't come that everyone thought they're going to turn up. Obviously, Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. And none of them did.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of surprises in the Women's Rumble. There was no real surprises in the men's because obviously going on to the men's, AJ Styles being back was incredible. The fact that he's back with his original music, thank God. That entrance music's far too good to be not used. He's back as a babyface, which everyone's I think is happy with because I think it's pretty clear he's not got long left. I think he's 47 now. He's had a lot of injuries recently.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can stay fit now and not get any more injuries and finish his career the right way. And yeah, that was. But I think most people knew that that he was cleared. So I think everyone was expecting it, and then obviously what you was alluding to before, the biggest pop of the night, Joe Hendry,
mate. He is like
money.
you saw some of the pops, right? When people come out and they're like, okay, they're over. Fucking hell, mate.
Yeah.
Joe Hendry, he's already over. This is another thing as well. Is a lot of people say, oh, they only watch WWE. You know, we don't watch anything else. Well, that it sort of kiboshed it when Penta showed up because everyone knew it. Everyone was doing that, and everyone's like, well, how did everyone know that before you come to WWE? You must be watching other wrestling.
Yeah.
And we've said it before. Not a lot of people watch NXT, but I think more people are now.
Yeah.
But that the whole crowd was singing his entrance music, and you kind of think, shit, people are watching other wrestling.
Yeah.
They must be, because he was so he's so over. And he's not even a WWE star, and he's so over.
It's ridiculous how over he is.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how over. And same with Jay. Now we'll get on to the two winners later, but it's amazing how over Jay is as well.
Yeah.
In being a tag team wrestler for like 15 years to where the spot is in now, like I don't think anyone, not even him, he couldn't even see it coming.
It's part of his catchphrase, because Stone Cold did the same thing. Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was part of the Hollywood Blondes, if you remember. He used to have blonde hair, and he was a nobody, really, just a guy in a black trunks, until he started with I'm 316.
Yeah.
And I'm Stone Cold Steve, because I told you so. And what? I mean, nothing was ever bigger than just what? When he used to come out and go, what?
Yeah.
And it's the same. I've got to say, it's the same with Jay. He's really over, but it's the yeet that has got him.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
So over, because everyone just did it.
Well, look, have a look at Shinsuke, right? Shinsuke was, no one really cared about him on the main roster. He was big on NXT. He came up to the main roster, no one cared about him. And then after the event, no one's cared about him since. But there was a 12-month period where, because Pat McAfee, when his music hit, he'd get up on the desk and he'd be dancing and the air guitar on his leg. And Pat McAfee got Shinsuke over. And then obviously they put him with Rick Boogs, who was playing the guitar in his entrance. And then all of a sudden Shinsuke was fucking massive. And then when Rick Boogs got injured, it kind of didn't feel the same. And then Pat left and went to do College Game Day, so we didn't have that. And then he just almost kind of like fell into obscurity again. No one cared. And obviously now he's come back, United States champion, and still nobody cares. So sometimes it's like, with Joe Hendry, it's his entrance music, which is what everyone loves. And the same with Jay, everyone, because it's a party and it's something everyone can do. Everyone can do that with both hands. Everyone can do it. It's something so simple and effective, but when you've got 70,000 fucking people doing it, it's a pretty impressive sight.
Yeah, and that is, I've got to say, just I'm so pleased for him, but that has slightly helped him get over. You got to think, if you took the yeet away from Jey Uso, what is he? Would he have been left over if he hadn't had that?
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. No.
So that has helped him get where he is. Just like Austin's what did and stuff like that. So
what proves it? Yeah, he looks virtually identical to his twin brother, because they're identical twins.
Yeah,
they wrestle virtually the exact same moveset. Yeah, because that's all they've done since they were like 5 years old. So they've learned how to wrestle together, and the moves that they do, their entire moveset is identical to each other. So it's not like he's a better wrestler than Jimmy. The only thing that he has that Jimmy hasn't got is the whole yeet thing, which, ironically, it was Jimmy that started saying it first.
Yeah.
And then when Jimmy got injured, Jay just carried it on. And Jay started coming out through the crowd. He started getting the crowd doing the hand thing with him. And then obviously, and again, I've got to say it, Pat. Every time Pat's there, Pat puts Jay over, because there's nothing I love more as a fan. I do it every time. Me and Bex are watching, and I'm going, babe, look at Pat. And the camera's on. Pat stood on the desk, fucking yeeting with everyone, going, I can't help it, Cole. I can't help it. He has I think Pat has been a big part in getting Jay over. I really do.
Yeah, definitely. It's I'm so pleased for him, especially how far he's come, and considering it's a bit like Kofi, when he was part of the New Day, and you always think, well, he's just going to be a tag team wrestler and not go on. He won the Intercontinental belt, Kofi, and no one ever thought anything different. And then when he won the WWE Championship, there was like, was elevating him. And it's the same with Jay. You kind of go, well, he's a tag team person, but I think what happened was, obviously, Jimmy went off. The whole bloodline thing, they split them up for briefly. It's really weird because they were splitting them up, and then the last couple of months they were sort of back together again, weren't they? They were sort of coming back together again.
Yeah.
And that's all gone away again.
Yeah.
But it just shows you that you can be individual even though you've been always a tag team.
Oh yeah. It's like while we're on Jay, we'll get to Charlotte winning the women's Rumble eliminations. I know you can't wait to talk about that. So we'll both give our opinion on that in a minute. But I do want to get your opinion on Jay winning it, on your opinion on him winning it, just because I find it funny, like the amount of me and you included, like how many years have we been sat on here doing this podcast and saying, why don't they, when they got someone who's white hot and nuclear and fucking stupidly over, they never go with them. They never fucking strap a rocket ship to the back and send them to the moon. Like when LA Knight was fucking nuclear, if you go back to like 18 months ago when he was the biggest attraction in the company, because people forget for about 6 months he was the biggest attraction in the company. It's the only thing anyone wanted to see for about a 6-month period. And
I don't know what's happened with LA Knight. He was quite over, and then they sort of stalled on him.
Well, but this is what I'm saying, because they didn't strap that rocket ship to him when he was piping hot. He actually lost 2 title matches before he eventually won the United States title. He then did nothing with it, and he dropped it to Shinsuke. Obviously, Punk, when Punk left, he was angry that he never main evented WrestleMania. I mean, I honestly think that's one of the biggest crimes in wrestling history. That if you think about how good Punk was and how long he was actually, if you look at his last 3-4 years in WWE, he was virtually champion for that whole run.
Well, you got to think that I think a lot of people forget that he was WWE champion for over 400 days.
This is what I'm saying.
And I think a lot of people forget that.
So not only did they not put Punk over by letting him main event Mania, which was all he wanted. I mean, CM Punk has got to be the biggest name in wrestling history to never main event Mania and never win a Royal Rumble. He has to be the biggest name ever to not do them things, right?
Yeah.
But when he left, he said that he was in constant argument with Triple H and Vince because he didn't understand why they wouldn't, give Daniel Bryan that big push because he was ready. And it took him another couple of years before, obviously, the miracle on Bourbon Street happened. And they did give Bryan the push when he did win it. But it was like 2 years after he originally was like massively over. Like, so we've been complaining, right, that when all these people are over, they don't push him, and we've been moaning about it. And then think about how much shit everyone turned on Cena because he was thrown down our throats and forced upon us.
Yeah.
Roman nearly quit, which a lot of people don't know, but the amount of abuse Roman got for about before his leukemia came back and he went for that 2-year period, the booze that you can't wrestle, Roman sucks, like it got that loud and that bad. And I mean, people were just throwing all sorts of abuse at him. I mean, I've seen a video on Twitter of one fan telling him that he hopes his cancer comes back and he dies. Like, it got really fucking dark at one point, the hatred on him. And it was because he was rammed down our throats. It was like Vince was saying, he will be your champion, he will be the face of this company, and you will love him. Now, we as fans don't want that. We want to pick who we want, which is obviously which is why a lot of us haven't turned on Cody and gone, oh, this title is shit, even though it has been shit. It's because we as fans wanted Cody as champion, and now we've got it. So, but now they've actually done it, and they've given the guy that's probably the most over in the company, in Jay, like, in terms of that weekly pop and weekly response from a fan base, No one gets that reaction that Jay's been consistently getting week in, week out for the last 12
Yeah.
months. So they've finally gone, right, push him, he's going to win the Rumble. And
Push
everyone's gone,
him.
that's fucking
See what
shit.
happens.
Why
Yeah.
is fucking Jay winning the Rumble? He's a mid-carder, he's shit that. What do you want?
I think
don't
the
get
thing
it.
was, I think we had, you got to think, we had that moment, didn't we? We had CM Punk, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. And on terms of what they've done and everything, I think they're the biggest stars, aren't they? But you have to remember, WrestleMania makes the stars. You know what I mean? It's a bit like Money in the Bank. It's sort of pushing the small. Really, that's what you want. You know, you want these guys like Jay to win it, so they go on and have their WrestleMania moment. It pushes them up. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's weird because after the match, he said he's coming for Gunther. And this Monday, he said he's going to go to SmackDown and talk to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, but he's definitely picking Gunther.
Yeah, definitely. The problem I have with that is that they've built Gunther up like he's a fucking animal. Yeah,
well, he is.
And but they've already had a match as well. I think they've had two actually.
Yeah.
And Jay's lost everything. So maybe they're doing that sort of, you know, underdog story. You know, he's having to overcome stuff. He's won the Rumble. He's going to beat him out.
He'll beat Gunther at Mania, I think. Which
I'm certain of it. I don't know how that's going to happen or how that's going to be, but I'm almost certain just to give him that moment.
I just don't understand that. You know, it's people say that they want a shock winner, and people say that they want the people that are really over the fans to get the push. Yeah. Well, that's just happened on Saturday night at the Rumble.
I've got to say, I was shocked. I was like, oh, shit, Jay.
I was shocked.
I was like, shit, Jay's won. I was like, because especially when you got Cena in there as well. Yeah. But if you've noticed, they always do this spot for the last couple of years. They've done it where both of them are over the top. They're on the apron. They've done it the last couple of years. And they're fighting on the apron thing. And then one of them gets pushed off. Yeah. And they've done that last couple of years. But I was like, oh, shit. And then, I mean, I really felt for Cena. I think, did you watch his post-match interview that he did?
Yeah.
I really felt for him because he was like, you know, I've done everything this company has ever asked me to do. You know, he goes, I've always done what's best for business. And he goes, regardless of what that is. And he goes, I feel that the thing for best for business is for me to be champion.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realise that until I was in that match, until I was in that moment.
Yeah.
I really, really want Cena to win the Elimination Chamber and go after the other.
Like, but I'm like, but who do I want to win? Do I want Cena to win or Punk to win? I want both of them to win. It's such a shit situation. But I do think that, and this is what I'm saying. Like, it probably would have been better if Cena would have won the Elimination Chamber and Punk would have won the Rumble. Me personally, I'd have had Punk win the Rumble. Now Punk, even Punk said that he said that isn't how he was talking to Daniel Cormier on a podcast on, I think it was Sunday night. And he said, how did you feel like when you found out that you weren't winning the Rumble again? And you know, you're probably not main eventing Mania again. And he said, look, as I've got older, I've come to accept it. And now I'm actually excited when I get told that I'm losing, because I'm like, well, am I losing because it furthers some storyline? Yeah, right. Well, that's great then. And he said, the way that the Rumble went wasn't how I'd have booked it. And I was like, here we go. Here's the fucking Punk, fucking stirring the shit. But he didn't. He said,
no.
I'd it. He said, I'd have had me and Cena as the final two. He went, and he went, and I'd have had Cena to throw my ass over that top rope, and I'd have had Cena win it. But the point that I'm making is you can't moan and say they never push the stars that are over with the fans. We never get a shock winner. They then give us that and they go, that's fucking bullshit. He's a mid-carder. What do you want?
It's just what wrestling fans are like. They're just, they're like that. Because I think, like you said, I think we all wanted our guys to win it. You know, my wife wanted Roman to win it. I wanted Punk to win it. My youngest is big for a Cena, so she wanted Cena to win it. So it's, you know what I mean. But they're obviously, I've always said this though. Royal Rumble is like the kickstart of Mania season.
Well,
and you've got something's going on. You've got Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, obviously taking hits on each other, and then you've got Punk who was pissed off, and he actually got in the face of Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So something's going on, and all that could be leading now to WrestleMania. That'd be interesting.
Well, it's time. What did you think on Charlotte winning it then?
Well, I mean, there was, I don't know, there was a lot of things. Even beforehand, I was like, I don't care who wins, because I remember when we were asking this before, who'd you like to win the Royal Rumble, the women's, and we were all like, I don't know. It's all at this point. It was like the men's were a bit more. We were all a bit more like, oh, we want Punk or Cena to win.
Yeah, the
women, we were like, shit, we don't know.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And then when obviously Charlotte said that she was coming back, I was thinking, okay, anyone but Charlotte. It's not that I don't like her. I think she's brilliant. Yeah. I just think that there were more people in that match that deserved that push.
Yeah,
she's already done this. She's already there was like, you could pick a handful of people in that match that were still more deserving, really, of a Mania spot over her. I mean, she is old school, right? The only thing I think they've done is I think she may lose at WrestleMania, because it depends on who she picks. It depends on who she picks.
I think she picks Rhea, and I think Rhea beats her.
The reason I say this was because I remember there was the NXT title match, weren't there, between them both of them, and Rhea dropped the title to Charlotte because obviously she had to go back to Australia because of the COVID situation. And then they had another match as well. Yeah, and she said on Raw as well, didn't she? She said, "I'd respect the hell out of you if you chose me."
Yeah.
You know, this isn't really for the title. This is about respect, sort of thing. But then I was thinking maybe they've picked Charlotte because she is the old school. She's there. Maybe she picks Tiffany Stratton and puts Stratton over.
Maybe. I don't know.
And then Tiffany could go, I've beat the best. I've beaten Charlotte Flair for the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think it's way too soon for Tiffany. The only reason why I was glad she won it was because it took the belt off Nia. But I've said it from them bringing her up. I said it when they gave her the Money in the Bank, and I will continue saying it. She's not ready. She's too young. She's too inexperienced. She is nails on a chalkboard bad on the mic. I have to mute it. It's that bad. Her voice goes through me. It's awkward. I feel uncomfortable for her watching her trying to cut a promo because it's so bad. And yes, she's talented in the ring, but how often do we actually get to see her showcase her talent? She doesn't actually wrestle. She
hasn't. Well, yeah, because she didn't really wrestle when she cashed in.
Since she's come up, she's had about 3 matches in 6-7 months. She's wrestled like three, maybe 4 times in 6 months. I don't know why, and I don't know what they're doing with her. But the only thing about her that for me you do want to see is her in-ring ability, and we're not even seeing that. I don't get it. Me personally, it doesn't make like. Rhea and Charlotte have had 2 matches at Mania. Arguably, both of them won match of the night both times they've wrestled at Mania. So we know that they put on incredible matches, and it's 1-1. So why would you not have a 3rd match at Mania to see who wins and have Rhea? That's what I do.
Yeah. And then you've got the Elimination Chamber, haven't you, where the other component. So it's really strange because you know that Rhea Ripley. The Elimination Chamber is a strange one because you know for a fact you won't have a world title match or a WWE title match or a women's world title match or a women's WWE title match because they'll have their opponents for WrestleMania and the other 2 get decided in the chamber. So it doesn't make any sense for any of those titles to be on the line at the Elimination Chamber.
No, but I mean, they've done it in the past. But what I wanted to say on Charlotte is I do feel sorry for her. How bad she got booed on Raw, and she's trying to tell a really emotional, heartbreaking story.
I think it's I think it's I feel like you're saying, it's a rock and a hard place. When because I did see some reports saying that the decision for Jay and for Charlotte were for them to both to win the Royal Rumble, and it was planned apparently like in October, November time. It was ages ago. Both of them were planned to win for ages, and I think it's just difficult because I think one, because he's won it before, and two, because I think there was a lot of women in that match where you could have gone. They should have won.
I wouldn't have had Charlotte win. I didn't know who I wanted to win it.
No.
I've said on the podcast, I didn't know. But when it got down to Charlotte, Roxanne last two, I thought I've Roxanne win it mainly because that would change everything forever. Because they've been for years now. They've been trying to say that NXT is not developmental anymore. It's a third brand. Well, what better way to solidify it as a third brand than have someone from NXT to win the Rumble and then main event WrestleMania? So, to me, that would have been incredible. Again, Roxanne is definitely ready for a call up in the ring. I don't think she's good on the mic at all. She definitely needs to improve on that. But she's unbelievable to watch in the ring, and the fact that she's still only 23 is freakish.
Yeah.
She's a really, really talented girl. But I wouldn't have had Charlotte win. I'm just saying, my mate Colin messaged me and was like, "Can Charlotte really again? What the fuck?" Like, I was fuming about it, and I was like, "Look, I get it. I understand you feeling like that because, as I was saying earlier when we were talking about Jay." When you've had Cena thrown down your throat and forced upon you, and you've had Roman, thrown down your throat and forced upon you, and they've done this with Charlotte for years. Like when Charlotte's there, she either has to be champion, or has to be winning Rumbles, or Money in the Banks, or has to be in the title picture, having a title match with someone. She has to be there all the time, and they have overbooked her, and it is too much. But what doesn't help is obviously her surname, because people do go, she wouldn't have got given all these opportunities if she didn't have the surname Flair.
If she wasn't Flair, yeah.
And it's just like it's not her fault that she's got the surname Flair, and she's an incredible women's wrestler in her own right. She's a brilliant wrestler. I wouldn't have had her win the Rumble, but the fact that she's trying to cut a really heartfelt, the plan was to return as a babyface, and that's impossible now because of how much they booed her. But she wanted to return as a babyface, and she wanted to cut a promo and say, "Look, I've missed 14 months of my career," when she'd only just come back from a previous injury, and she thought for a while that her career was over and she'd never wrestle again. It's a really emotional thing that she's trying to say, and she just got booed out of the building.
Everyone's booing her, yeah.
And I'm not a big Charlotte fan. I will give her her flowers. I do think when she's at her best, she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world.
Oh yeah, she's
at her best.
You've got to think she's part of the four horsewomen, the original four horsewomen. Yeah. So she is phenomenal. She, give her her dues. She should be where she is. But like you said, I wouldn't have necessarily planned for her to win. You know what I mean? Because she's the sort of person that you could put at WrestleMania anyway. You know what I mean? She's going to be a draw. She's going to wrestle and everything else. So did she really need the Royal Rumble win? For me, no, I don't think she did.
No.
But here we are.
Yeah,
she didn't really need it. And I always think if you're going to have someone win things like Money in the Bank or the Royal Rumble, they need to be someone that sort of deserves that push. Like with Jay, we're sort of like, it was a shock. It was, but is he more deserving than anybody else? Of course he is. He's there. He's over. He's there.
Yeah, and what does that say to all these women that for the last 14 months while Charlotte's been out injured has worked their ass off, flying all around the world, spending one night a week in their own bed if they're lucky, grinding for 14 months, for then Charlotte to just return and win the Rumble and Main Event Mania? It isn't right, and I didn't agree with it. And I've also got to say this, and I'm surprised no one's mentioned it. how Triple H booked Lyra in that Rumble match was an absolute fucking disgrace, to be honest.
First elimination.
It was an absolute second, I think, wasn't it?
B-Fab.
Yeah,
B-Fab
was first.
Yeah, and then Lyra, and they were eliminated quite quickly.
Yeah, like literally 20 seconds apart. But why would you give her the moniker and the prestige and the title? Something that she will go down in history as the first ever Intercontinental Women's Champion. It is a big thing for her. It's a big thing for women's wrestling. To then shit on her and have her eliminated second after about 5 minutes.
It's the same. I thought there were two other spots in the women's as well that I thought were a little bit like that. Firstly, Maxine, they were sort of ganging up on her, and she did get eliminated very quickly, but not. At least she had one or two spots.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, fucking Chelsea Green is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
she's so fucking good.
Yeah,
right? And I don't really. I think this match proved how good she fucking is at doing everything, storytelling especially.
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing.
She's amazing. Yeah. I mean, if you watch some of her matches outside WWE, you then know what she's capable of and what she can do. But I thought she was brilliant in that match. There was a few people in that match I thought, fucking hell, they're good. Lash Legend, man, she's going to be hot when she comes.
Yeah,
she's fucking ready. She's going to be well hot when she comes up. Like especially when she's going up against the bigger ones as well.
Yeah.
Bianca and people like that.
The spot in the women's match that fucking took my breath away, I made my ass leap off the sofa when I didn't even mean to, was Jordynne Grace with that what she did with Piper Niven. Fucking hell.
It's a sort of was it the sort of rowing Samoan form? Oh yeah, Jordynne Grace, man. You got to think she used to fight the men in NXT, so she can fucking stand up. She's not. I would say she's the modern day version of China. She can fucking stand her own, mate, against any bloke.
I mean, she's jacked, ain't she, for a woman? But like,
she's huge.
She's musclier than most of the men that are on the roster.
Well, she never used to be. When a couple of years ago, when she was in TNA, starting off in TNA, she wasn't. She was quite chunky. Not chunky, but she was bigger than what she was. And then all of a sudden, she started just getting fucking jacked up. And now she's just muscle now. That woman is just fucking muscle.
I mean, do you know what? It was how long she held Piper on her shoulders for. And when the camera zoomed in her face, she wasn't even straining. It was like easy. Even
Bianca struggles to pick up Piper Niven.
Yeah, but what shows how incredible that was Wade Cole and Pat were out of the seats and throwing them. They didn't know what to do because
it's not only that. It's normally there's when they do those spots, even with the men, there's like a little build up, like where they struggle to pick them up, but she just picked her up straight away. No struggling, just picked her straight up and fucking slammed her.
Yeah, amazing.
And no struggling, no lifting. Because if you notice, when they do those spots, normally they struggle to pick them up at first. And then they sort of get the power to pick them up. She didn't even do any of that. She just went, she saw her and went, I'm fucking picking her up. Picked her up.
Yeah. We have to mention the viral spot, the most viewed clip in Royal Rumble history. I mean, I'm telling you now, I'm going to make a prediction now. That's the last time we're ever seeing Speed in a WWE ring. He ain't doing that again.
Did you see a bit afterwards? Did you see a bit afterwards backstage?
Yeah, we got a hole in his leg.
He got a massive gash on his leg. That obviously, I think that happened when Otis threw him, and he hit the table. I think that's what happened there. But
Bron Spear, he fucking hell
holding him. That was a proper American football spear. That was a proper.
Do you know what I think that was? And I don't blame him. That was almost like Bron's gone. Oh yeah. So you think that you know you're a fucking YouTuber and a streamer, and you think that you keep coming in and do what we do? Fucking have that.
Well, not that. He helped eliminate someone.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, bounced around." Braun's gone. Yeah, look at him. Look. He goes, "I'll fucking show you. You come into my fucking house." Whack! He goes, "You want to fucking play? This is what we play here."
I mean,
he knocked him out. That's it.
Jesus Christ, that was brutal. That was a.
I don't even know if
brutal
that was like. I don't even was that really planned? I don't know because if it
I
was,
don't think it was. I don't think it.
if
I
it
think
was,
it, I
if that
think
was
we meant
planned,
to
because
steer him.
he was backstage and Triple H goes, "Well, we need
Yeah,
someone. We need some IO," and he's like, "What?" And then he goes out and he's like, "What?" And he walks up there, and I don't know if it was planned or anything, but he made it seem like it wasn't.
Yeah, no. I think all of that was planned because they had his music ready and everything, and he's a fucking YouTuber, so that was planned. But I think it was all planned. I just don't think that Braun was supposed to hit him so fucking hard. I think that's the only thing.
Wow, that was a fucking. That was
a
welcome to.
He speared his soul out of him. I'm pretty sure even from here, I could see a bit of poo come out. I mean, Jesus Christ! And when you see the slow mo, he hits him so high that it's a proper
Whiplash effect. I'm surprised he didn't get whiplash with him.
He hits his chest that hard that his head goes forward, then back. But if you look, the back of his head hits the mat, and as his head hits the mat and then bounces back up, he headbutts Braun's shoulder.
Yeah, so and then Braun just obviously, and then Braun just scoops him up and fucking launches him out.
There you go. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's it. But everyone, I saw a lot of hate for that. I was like, oh fucking hell, there could have been other men in there. They fucking fucked it up with. They had this stupid YouTube, and I was like, have you ever seen a Royal Rumble? We've had Johnny Knoxville in a fucking. He came out in some sort of stupid cape thing in one of the Rumbles.
But I was glad that they did it just so that I could see that spot where Braun nearly killed him. And do you know what it is? It's a warning shot to. This is what's going to happen if you want to enter there, and it's like when Randy Orton RKO'd KSI backstage. KSI was like, "Fucking hell, why did he do it so hard?" And it's like, well, if
that's
you
how we do it.
This is how we do it. Like, if you don't like it, look, the difference in Logan Paul is he is actually good in the ring, but him entering number 30 is a fucking joke. Him being the 30 spot is an absolute fucking joke.
Well, when LA Knight come out, I was like, well, we know who's coming out next. And Kirsty went, do we? I said, well, Paul Logan, because he's not, or Logan Paul, whatever. I said, because he said he was coming in the Rumble and he hasn't come out yet. So he has to be number 30. And I was like, really? Number 30? Really? Yeah. Okay. I also want to point out that when Jay come out, they said that no one has won from that number ever.
Yeah, I know.
And I was a little bit like, at that time, I was a bit like, shit, have they just gave it away?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering now, obviously done it, I'm wondering whether they've done that on purpose to sort of say, no one's won from this spot in the Rumble ever. Oh, well, Jay fucking has now.
Yeah, and obviously we're coming towards the end-ish, so I want to make sure that we get this point out there. What we said right at the start about Owens, and obviously Owens not winning the title and stuff. So when me and Bex was watching the main event of Raw last night, and she went, "Who wins this?" And I went, "I have no fucking idea." I said I want both of them in the Elimination Chamber match, and Bex went, "Yeah, but it's in Toronto, so you'd imagine that they're going to want Sami Zayn in the Chamber match in Toronto because obviously Sami Zayn's Canadian." But then when Punk won it, I was like, I'm gutted for Sami, but Punk needs to be in that elimination. Punk and Cena have to be in that Elimination Chamber together, obviously, because Cena's already announced. He doesn't have to qualify; he's in there. But Punk and Cena both being in that Elimination Chamber match will be amazing. Which one of them wins, I don't know. But as long as
someone posted something. Someone posted something after that and said this is going to be the first time I think since it was 2012 or 2013 when Punk and Cena were in an Elimination Chamber together.
Yeah, so that's 12 years ago. But it doesn't matter if one of them two wins. Then I'll be happy for whoever wins and gutted for whoever doesn't. But the point that I'm trying to make is, I don't agree with, and I never agree with this. when something happens that is so fucking brutal and it is sold so well, you wouldn't do all that hard work by bringing them back 2 days later. With how nasty the ending of that Cody Owens match was and how incredible. We said how impressed we were with Owens selling at the end of that match, that his head's in between the two rungs of the ladder and then he's folded backwards on himself, like his head and his back are like straight up in the air, and then his arse and his legs are folded back over himself.
Yeah.
He kept himself there for about 5 or 6 minutes and didn't move because he wanted to sell the fact, shit, I'm really fucking hurt. This is really bad.
Yeah.
But 2 days later to bring him back, you've undone all of that. That's now irrelevant. And I feel like the work that Owens did in that match, meant more and it deserved more. We shouldn't have been seeing Owens for at least a few weeks because otherwise you're undoing it. But with Owens coming and attacking Sammy and hitting that package pile driver, I would be very, very surprised if they don't have a match at the Elimination Chamber because
that's setting up
then
a match between them.
Then two, a big pay-per-view match in Toronto makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, well, they done it right at the end. So obviously next week we're going to get an explanation on why he did it, because I remember when that first spot happened and Sammy came out and I was like, why is Sammy, like everyone started checking on Kevin Owens and that, and I was like, why the fuck is Sammy there? Is he legitimately hurt or something? And then I was like, oh shit, is Sammy going to help him? Because we've been on and off about this, and obviously he didn't. And I'm wondering whether Kevin's going to use that as a sort of thingy.
What they did was very, very clever because obviously Sammy upset Owens by teaming with Roman in the Elimination Chamber in the Survivor Series War Games match. That upset him. He's then asked him for his help, and he hasn't helped him, and Owens is then lost. But then the final dagger for me is the fact that he not only gets. I mean, see the fact that Seth Rollins is cutting a promo going, Sammy, please beat this prick. Like I ate Punk, you ate Punk. Who else ate CM Punk? Kevin Owens. So the fact that he's then seen his real life best mate, they were best men at each other's wedding, the godfather to each other's kids.
Oh yeah,
they are genuinely real life best friends. So for him, obviously in the story, Owens is like, so not only have you already done all this, you've now lost to CM Punk, who we both fucking hate, and now you're a cheeky bastard for shaking his hand. For Owens, that's just like red rag to a bull.
At the end,
you're shaking his hand after everything, because obviously this goes back to their Ring of Honor days, like fucking 15, 16, 17 years ago, like where the story is that Punk tried to bury Sammy and Owens when they were all in the Ring of Honor together. I don't know exactly what happened, but apparently they all had a big falling out, and Owens and Zayn haven't particularly liked Punk since. So for Owens, that's just it's Roman has consistently stabbed Owens in the back and cost Owens multiple world titles over the years. Sammy stabbed him in the back by teaming with him, and Punk's in that match as well. And then it doesn't help him beat Cody, so he doesn't have his back there. And then he shakes the hand of the man that they both are supposed to hate. So it's like, you fucking having it. Package pile driver, mate. Taking you out.
Yeah, it was a sort of a thing, because I remember saying as well afterwards, after the Rumble, I was like, where does Kevin go from here?
Yeah.
Like, if he didn't win it, like, where does he go from here? We found out on Monday.
Another name that I want to mention that wasn't in the Rumble match, and I've checked, and everything that I can find is he isn't injured. No Randy.
Yeah.
Still no Randy Orton, and it's like, well, if he isn't injured, he's been wrote off TV now for what, 2 months?
Yeah, he's been a while now. Yeah, probably longer, I think.
And the fact that that's a big name that they haven't used on Netflix yet, which I'd be surprised about. But not having him come back at Rumble, and apparently he's in talks to be the host of WrestleMania because they don't have any plans for him.
Right.
So he's going to host WrestleMania, and it's like,
really?
What? Why? Yeah. He isn't injured.
No.
So why aren't you using him? I don't get it. Look, obviously this is only the stuff that you read on Twitter, so it might be bollocks. He might be injured, but everything that I found is that he's fine. He's just not on TV at the minute.
Have you seen NXT? Yeah.
I've got about half an hour left.
Right. Okay. I won't mention.
No,
But
I've seen a shock return though.
yes, yeah. Shall we say it?
Yeah.
Fandango.
Yeah.
Has returned. I don't know whether it's just a one-off thing, but obviously he's having a match.
Yeah, match next week. Yeah.
Match next week for the Heritage Cup. But I was like, now I don't know if you remember the first time he appeared, and he was at like WrestleMania and things like that. Mate, that he was so fucking over. He was so over that his music, I believe, got to like number 3 in the UK charts.
Yeah.
Because everyone went nuts for him. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that just before we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, the Royal Rumble for me was shock. It was, I suppose, everything that I would expect it to be, if you know what I mean. It wasn't the best Royal Rumble, but it definitely wasn't the worst one. And it had the shocks that, well, I think we're all talking about now. It's just how leads up to WrestleMania, isn't it? So
yeah, I think the women's match had more surprises in it. You know, the fact that there's 6 NXT women in it and there's not one NXT man doesn't make any sense. Well, you mentioned Trick Williams, but I mean Obafemi. Why would you not have Obafemi in the Royal Rumble? He's made for that kind of match.
I'm surprised. I'm wondering whether they just put out like a memo for people to turn up, because one of the female wrestlers did an Instagram backstage at the Royal Rumble, and in when they're doing it together, these two women, I'll send you it later. I can't remember who it was, but they're doing like a promo to the camera. In the back, in their wrestling gear, was Shotzi. And I'm wondering whether they just got loads of people and went, "Oh, you're in the Rumble sort of thing," and certain people were left out. I'm wondering whether there were quite a few NXT guys there, and you're not told until the day, if you know what I mean, until the night or something, that you're going to be there or not.
Yeah, there was obviously we had the amazing and beautiful shock return of Alexa Bliss in the women's, which was amazing. Yeah. That was a real shock, because like I said, with everything that's happened to her, I thought it was obviously Bray died, when the plans were for her to return and do something with Bray, and then that happened. She had the skin cancer scare and had a baby and blah blah blah, and a contract ran out like a year ago, and I didn't think that she'd necessarily want to return. It was amazing to see her. And look, for me, it was amazing. It was nice to see Nikki Bella, and so many, inconsiderate and cold-hearted assholes on Twitter saying, why is Michael Cole calling her one of the most courageous women in the world, and like giving Cole and Nikki shit for it? And it's like, well, like, she was battered off her husband and then went through a really messy public divorce, 6 months ago. So she has been through a lot, So, I was actually quite happy to see Nikki. And if you couldn't get it, this is the thing of going, fucking Nikki instead of AJ. Well, that's not Nikki Bella's fault. And if AJ doesn't want to do it, AJ doesn't want to do it.
Yeah,
you can't force her.
Yeah, and like he said, who's number 30? And I was like, it's going to be Becky Lynch, right? But no, I'm really surprised actually. Becky hasn't come back yet, because she was part of the Netflix. She was part of the Netflix promos that they did.
Yeah, and she re-signed. I was shocked at no Becky, but look. Just before we go, let me ask you a question, because the amount of people that have been giving it shit that Nikki Bella entered 30 and blah, 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 and how shit it was, who would you, like, if you look at the two 30 entrants, who was you happiest with, the returning Nikki Bella or fucking Logan Paul?
It was Nikki Bella. Of course it was.
So...
Yeah. It swings in roundabouts, doesn't it? Obviously, it's going to be a load of stuff we're going to get through coming up to Mania and that.
Yeah.
But as always, it's been brilliant talking to you, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening. Obviously, we're going to go now.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on next one. But thanks, guys, for listening. I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. See you later, guys.
See you later, guys. Take it easy.
Tune into the channel. Nexus is the name. all the hardest content, you'll never be the same. Laughs and thrills, excitement,